Coming up after the break, we'll take a look at...
Pardon the interruption for a very important news update.
This is no holds barred. We go hard, we go harder. In the ring, on the mic, every shot is your holds barred. Feel the charge, feel the armor. Bobby Josh in your brain, turn it up, go farther, farther, farther. Theme hits loud, then the grips come off. Call out the card, call every payoff. Botches, legends, titles, and heat. Pay-per-view nights, run it back, repeat. They slam, we analyze. Move for move, every feud, every bruise, every gleaming moon. This is no holds barred. We go hard, we go harder. In the ring, on the mic, every shot is your holds barred. Feel the charge, feel the armor. Bobby Josh in your brain, turn it up, go farther. Turn it up, go farther. Turn it up, go farther. No script, just true. Every jab breaks through. From the bell to the brawl. Name the show. We want it all. 1, 2, 3. This is no holds barred. We go hard, we go harder. In the ring, on the mic, every shot is no holds barred. Feel the charge, feel the armor. Bobby Josh in your brain, turn it up, go farther. Turn it up, go farther. Turn it up, go farther.
All right. Hello, everybody. Happy Saturday. Welcome to the No Holds Barred Wrestling Podcast on the brand new No Holds Barred Wrestling channel, powered by FTSN. Appreciate everybody tuning in here. If you're watching on FTSN, thank you. If you're on the YouTube channel, if you're on the No Holds Barred Wrestling channel, thank you. If you're anybody otherwhere at No Holds Barred Wrestling channel, come on over. I'm going to drop the link below. Come watch us there. Come subscribe to the channel. We're going to have all the same great No Holds Barred content, Real Talk Wrestling as well, but also some brand new stuff that we are working on. Josh, specific one for you. You're going to be working on.
I'm doing a Dynamite. Wait, what was the name again? I'm sorry. Rundown. Dynamite Rundown, man. Every single Thursday. I'm not going to commit to a time yet, but it's most likely going to be in the afternoon. I'm going to go live at around noon. I'm going to break down the important stuff from Dynamite. I'm going to force myself to actually watch it. I'm going to watch the program every Wednesday night. So we'll see how it goes. It's going to be fun. I cannot wait to get back into the world of Tony Khan. I can't wait. I really cannot wait, Bobby. No, but more on top of that, Real Talk Wrestling, Thursday night, 6:30 p.m. We just did our Clash in Italy show, preview show, which Clash in Italy is tomorrow at 2 p.m., which with the new wrestling channel, we are going to launch a lot of more content, and you're going to see a lot more of Bobby and myself. So we will be doing a Clash in Italy, either preview or review show. I'm not sure what yet. We discussed it briefly before this, but expect a lot more. A lot of ideas coming down the aisle for this channel, specifically here on the No Holds Barred Wrestling channel.
There you go. And yeah, you better review it right, Josh.
I might reenact promos. Like I've been practicing my I call him Hong Kong Fooey because that's what Cornette calls him. But the little guy. You want some of me, Kevin Knight? If that's the man you're gonna be, then please come at me tonight or next week on Dynamite. I'm gonna be doing a lot of reiterations of promos, especially from Speedball Mike Bailey. Gosh. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Speedball Mike Bailey, Maria. We're here talking about WrestleMania 9.
Yes.
One of the weirdest WrestleManias to date. One of the bigger feeling WrestleManias, I felt like they tried to make it such a big deal with so little people. 16,000 people.
Yeah.
In Las Vegas. During the day. That sucked. That's one of my biggest critiques of this show. Was the entire show was during the day. I hate day wrestling. Like watching it inside of a stadium or arena, like from home, but not when it's daylight the entire time. A lot of questionable finishes. A lot, Bobby. A lot of questionable finishes in WrestleMania 9. And I'm just going to put it out there right now. I don't want to hear it from nobody. I don't want to hear it from it. Not even you, Bobby. Get Macho Man off of commentary.
Oh gosh.
Get Macho Man off of if he's there next WrestleMania, I'm gonna be so mad. He kind of ruined it. He ruined it. I hated it. I hated the commentary. Just gonna throw it out there. Bobby the Brain Heenan and Macho Man did not mesh.
No. This one here, Gorilla Monsoon, first time not commentating. He was the host of WrestleMania. He was a presenter. Jim Ross, his first WrestleMania, and man, crazy to see a young Jim Ross. I actually, I would say this is the first time I've seen him where he was smiling, animated, expression, which is way different from what we've seen in the Attitude Era. But I actually just saw an old WCW pay-per-view on YouTube, and where he was working for WCW, and he was all happy, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. So seeing Jim Ross still like that was very interesting. A young Jim Ross try to handle Bobby Heenan and Savage, which was just a weird mix. And weird to see Randy Savage. This is what McMahon wanted Savage to do. He wanted Savage to retire. He wanted Savage to be a commentator, and Savage was not interested in that, and that's why eventually Savage leaves for the WCW, because he doesn't think his career is over. But you're right. I'll start this up by just saying you're absolutely right with the preference of this was a weird WrestleMania, and that's why I did have this. It's not just weird, because a weird WrestleMania could be great, but it was weird, but also a lot of head scratching, a lot of what it didn't, Crush, right? We had Crush versus Doink the Clown. And Crush, you would think Doink would be the one kind of going, you'd be like, but really it's Crush. I was kind of like, I am not interested in this goofball. Doink, I left with a more positive impression than I had in years past. I have a different opinion of Doink, and we're going to get into it. Of course, you had the tag championship match, $1 Million Man, IRS taking on Hogan and Beefcake. I have a comment on that. You got the Steiner brothers, the Head Shrinkers. There was something. You had Tatanka taking on Shawn Michaels again.
Yes.
In this one, that one was interesting with Luna Vachon and of course Shari, Sensational Sherry. So a lot to talk about. And like you said, with the crowd and everything else, it was a little weird, especially in the daylight. And I don't know. It did not feel like a WrestleMania, other than they're all dressed up in tugas and looked like a frat house. They want. And that's not how Julius Caesar looked. He wasn't bald. We know how he looked. So, but it was just funny. I understood. I get it. They want to make the look of, hey, we're in Caesar's palace, but kind of came off the wrong way. At least in my opinion. Yes, this was Hogan's last Mania before WCW, and Hogan, you could absolutely see the change in body. Right. This has been a year since he's wrestled. Off, right? We got doing shows, and we know from watching the Hulkamania, Real American Hulk Hogan series, he was off. He was thinking about retiring, and he actually took off. And then, he was watching Bret Hart on TV as the champion. He's like, this doesn't work. This doesn't work, brother. So he came back. But you see the body change, dude. This is Hollywood Hogan body coming, So we're going to get into the Hogan stuff. We'll get to it towards the end. Adrian of the Rainy Day Podcast in here. Justin Toner as well. Great to see you. Ruckus Wrestling in the house. We got 2 Raw for SmackDown. We got Maria here. Appreciate everybody joining us again. If you're watching on FTSN, thank you. If you're watching us on the new No Holds Barred Wrestling channel, we thank you as well. If you're watching anywhere other than the No Holds Barred Wrestling channel, jump on there. If you haven't yet, go subscribe. I'm going to drop the link below. Hit that link, subscribe to the channel, and watch from there. We appreciate if you guys can watch and support us. You could do that too. But let's get started with the opening contest of WrestleMania, which is Tatanka taking on Shawn Michaels, with Luna Vachon coming out. Sensational Sherry comes out after they come to the ring. She's in the corner of Tatanka. Luna is in the corner of Shawn Michaels. I've never heard Bobby Heenan thirst on someone more than he did on Luna. My goodness. I had to double, triple, quadruple take Luna to make sure I wasn't missing something. But then, went back towards the match. And honestly, I could be wrong. I'm going to give the guys their credit. Obviously, Shawn Michaels, Mr. WrestleMania. We know how great Shawn Michaels is going to be. Tatanka is not bad. It was decent. It was decent. But I wasn't really impressed with this. There's 2 WrestleManias where I felt let down by Shawn Michaels as a singles competitor. compared to what we've seen from Bret Hart, which I'll get to that later on. But this was all right. I was more interested in Sherry's story than I was in and what happened after the match. But before we get into after the match, what did you think of Tatanka taking on Shawn Michaels?
So again, full disclosure, I don't know much about WrestleManias at all until about 17. I knew the finish of this WrestleMania. So when I heard Shawn Michaels' music come out first, I'm like, oh, cool, Shawn. I can't wait to see who he wrestles. Comes out with Luna. Really not a big fan of her, but okay, debuting. Did they debut her at WrestleMania? Because everybody was like, who is that?
Yeah,
that's kind of weird, but okay. All right. We get a debut of a valet on WrestleMania. Kind of weird. But it is what it is. And I was like, all right, who are we gonna see? What amazing match are we gonna see? And then I hear Tatanka's music, and I instantly lose interest. Instantly. And it's nothing against Tatanka. It's just I put it in my head as a 90s kid. He was already a jobber at the point that I started watching Tatanka. And all I could think of is this guy doesn't win anything. He's just a loser. So I'm just going to watch a squash match. But at the time, he was undefeated. He was undefeated. So it's like, okay, at this time, this should be a good match. So I'll just put it this way, plain and simple. There were some botches. Shawn tried to do too much that Tatanka couldn't do. There was that somersault sunset flip from the top rope that looked like crap. I was looking for Shawn's attitude rather than watching the match. Okay, is he going to be mad?
Pissed. Yep. I did too. I did.
So every time there was a missed spot or a mess up, I'm like, okay, is he going to be upset? Is he going to kick this guy in the head? What's he going to do? And you're right. I was more focused on the girls. Bobby Heenan was putting over Luna. You say Thurston, I say putting over. His job was to get Luna over, to make her look like a crazy woman. And he was doing it. He wouldn't shut up about it. Sherry coming out there, it was just overbooked. But I will say this, last words. This is what people called back in the day probably a banger, because it went long. They had matches. They did
18
moves.
minutes. Yep.
They did moves. Shawn Michaels did some moves, right? He did some flips. He did the sunset flip. He did a sweet chin music, which wasn't common back in the day. But the finish sucked. The finish was horrible. Counted out. I was confused. When did he get counted out? He was back in the ring. The whole ending didn't make sense. He got counted out, but he was in the ring. Michaels pulled the referee out of the ring to avoid. What happened?
That's why I thought what happened. I thought he was disqualified at first because he pulled the referee out. I'm kind of, that's kind of weak. And then it's like, oh, it's a count out. I'm like, when? Where? How did that even happen?
Yes.
You know, and of course Tatanka does the right thing. He's pissed. He's, but Sherry's clapping. Oh, you won. But not really. You didn't really win, There was a few of those kind of head scratching finishes in this WrestleMania, which we'll get into. Again, I like Ted DiBiase in these 9 WrestleManias that we have now watched. Sherry, to me, comes off as one of the MVPs of the WrestleMania series so far. I was more intrigued. I did not come away very impressed with this match at all. What's up, Fernando? But I with sensational Sherry and Luna, I came away very interested in that story. And Sherry, again, for someone who's not known as a wrestler, she's really good at putting people over and looking good and doing the moves. I mean, that scoop slam that she took on the outside, she made Luna look really good. And then I don't know, I never saw it. I don't know if they show it on Raw the next night, but Jim Ross says, oh, Sherry got beat up in the back in the medical area. I don't know if I missed it. I didn't see it. Maybe they should
miss it.
Okay. So we do see a fight in the backstage area, probably for the first time in WrestleMania. But we'll get into that in a little bit after Lex and Mr. Perfect. But for me, I left more interested in Sherry and Luna than actually Shawn Michaels and Tatanka. And Tatanka was a big deal back then. This was a way to keep the title on Shawn, but also keep Tatanka looking strong because he's still undefeated at this point in time. So I get it, but at the same time, it's like, come on, dude. Have a finish. Now, maybe WrestleMania to them, even though they treated it as the biggest thing, maybe it wasn't at that time. Like, oh, we have to have a winner at WrestleMania. no, you don't. But there's a few of them where no, you don't. So we'll
Mhm.
get into that. The next one match is the first time we see the Steiner brothers, Rick and Scott,
Yes.
taking on the head shrinker, Samu and Fatu. Afa's there as the manager. And this is one that I really enjoyed. I did enjoy this match. I mean, Scott Steiner is so damn good. You know, people see Big Papa Pump. That's what we know Steiner for. And that's one of my favorite characters in wrestling. I've seen him before. I've met him. I've interacted with him before at TNA Wrestling. We were going like this and he went like this. And then he was like, and we, oh, F you, you know, and then at the end he did it. And he's awesome freaking dude. One of the best in the ring, actually, despite the size. I love wrestling with him in 2K. He's the world champ. Actually, he just lost that title, but he was the world champion for the WCW brand. But people forget how good he is in the ring, and this match showed that. And Samu and Fatu are both really Rikishi, who's I think Fatu. I mean, they are so damn good. This was a very entertaining match. That spot where Steiner, they pulled the rope down. Steiner, I thought could have broke his Scott Steiner looked like he almost broke his neck. I don't know if you know what I remember what I'm talking about.
I do.
And then he got smacked in the back with that freaking stick. I enjoy this match. The Steiners go over, winning the match. What did you think of this match? Did you like it as much as me? And did you like that the Steiners went over?
I don't like it as much as you, but it wasn't a like embarrassing match. It wasn't a like, what is this doing on WrestleMania? This was a good work rate match. We got to see the Steiners like pretty much in their prime doing the double jump off the top rope. That was pretty cool to see the double moves that they did. Seeing a young Rick Steiner and Scott Steiner cut a promo before the match was cool too. Like these have the same voices, just look totally different. But to me, I didn't care because there was nothing on the line. It was just a introduction type of match. And you knew the result. Like they do this a lot, and it's pro wrestling. Not every match is predictable, but most are. And this was like the most predictable match on the card. Like, oh, okay, yeah, we love the head shrinkers. Sure, that's their good gimmick. They're fine, but they're not winning. They're not being pushed here, and it was very obvious from the start. So that's kind of like when I see a match where it's one sided, I lose interest so much. And this one, that's why the Tatanka thing. Shawn Michaels match, point in case, it was obvious who was going to win that match, or it was obvious how the match was going to finish. Shawn was going to walk away with his title. This one right here, obviously, the Steiners are going to win this match. So I'm watching 20 minutes of the head shrinkers hit each other in the head. But like I said, cool to see the young people work as young Rick and Scott. But other than that, I'm not going to remember this match at all.
All right, let's go to another one. Where when I saw this was that was coming up, I'll be honest, early perception was I was not going to be interested in this match. I wasn't. Doink the Clown taking on Crush. I was kind of like, well, okay, you know, Doink coming off as the Joker, paints the statue. However, they show the kind of the pre-roll, the pre-tape, you know, the broken, taking out the arm out of the socket, smashing Crush with it. They were really trying to put over Crush to look strong. I didn't get that at all with him. The truth, and Crush was good. You know, Crush later on, Brian Adams gets better. Obviously, I like him. But I'll tell you, man, I never really thought much of Doink the Clown. I always think of him as a comedy gimmick. The match wasn't great, but I think that had a lot to do with Crush, who tried to do like a spin around kick and he only got to the knees of Doink. And, you know, I was like, okay. But Doink came off way better, dude. He is a creepy MFer, man. Matt Bourne. I'll tell you what, man. I get it now. That dude was a creepy MFer, dude. I really I think that character when you had the two of them and how he would be giggling and laughing and all of a sudden he'd get all serious. Like, yeah, that would creep me the hell out too. You know, so not a good impression of the match, to be honest. I could live without that match, but I get the Doink gimmick. I get it. I think that was a cool gimmick. Creepy as hell. And I think, I mean, if they would have done that right, if they would have put him against someone else, maybe another baby face who they actually were thinking about bringing him up, Doink was better than Dunhausen. There it is.
She's such a hater, bro. They can't handle it when AEW castaways go to WWE and get successful. They can't handle it.
Maria is our resident sicko. We love you, Maria.
They can't handle it.
What'd you
Penta,
think of?
what's Penta doing over there? I don't know, selling millions of dollars worth of masks. I don't know, being the Intercontinental Champion. I don't know, being a megastar now, being in commercials.
Yeah, there you go. So Doink versus Crush. Doink goes over after you have the double doinks and everything in the arm, and again, I came off. I did not like the match at all, but I really did enjoy Doink the Clown. What did you think of this match, and what did you think of Doink?
Say what you want about Doink the Clown and Crush and how Crush looked like a buffoon the whole time. He looked like a create a wrestler. Like my kids, like I want someone big and strong, and I'm just gonna create a wrestler, and that's what he looked like, and it was awful. He looked awful, but I dare anyone watching, all millions of you around the world, Bobby, yourself included, find a better finish on this card. I dare anybody. I dare anybody to find me a more interesting, more creative, more.
I like that. Good point.
Better finish than this. This was the best finish of the match, and that's what of the whole WrestleMania, and that's what I'll remember the most about this WrestleMania, other than the terrible Hogan decision at the very end. I love the double doink. I love the gimmick of him doing. I love when they do that. I love when the color commentary, although it's, they did it with the Bellas, they did it with, they do it all the time. It's a very tropey gimmick, but when they do it and the heel commentators is selling like, that was an illusion. Like that's what sold it. Like Bobby the Brain Heenan. Oh, well, they're interviewing him in the back. Well, if they're interviewing him in the back, then how's he under the ring? Like, the whole like it's great. I love it. So that's what I'll remember about this match. Not the match itself, not the Crush, not the pre-interview, and just the finish itself. It was by far the best finish of this card. And that matters. Finishes matter.
I like that, man. That's a great point. That's a great point, and I agree. I came off very favorable towards Doink the Clown. Now, I'm interested to see, what happened immediately after this with him. Because to me, it was almost obviously not Undertaker, but almost Undertaker-esque. The two clowns, and the clown is gone. Where's the clown? And so I just really enjoyed that. Next, we have the introduction in at least WrestleMania for Razor Ramon, Scott Hall taking on Bob Backlund, who's in his 40s at this point. Very short match, 3 minutes, not a lot to talk about. Razor, he was being the heel. He was the heel here, but the fans loved him. The fans were cheering for Razor. Phenomenal shape. Hey, yo, Bob Backlund is like, hey, let's shake hands, and I'll throw the toothpick at you. Not really much to talk about this. Razor beats him with a wrestling rollover pin. Bob Backlund's a little shocked, surprised, and, that's about it. Not much to talk about here, but introduction to Razor Ramon.
What a waste. What a waste of our time, but cool. That's it. That's all I have to say. Waste of our time.
But again,
cool.
The fans,
yeah.
Justice says, I loved him right away. Again, I see it. Like you look at Razor Ramon, Scott Hall, especially at that time, and I've always been a diehard fan of Scott Hall. But Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, I mean, to me, it's like I could see that character being on the top of the card, either being the arch rival of a Bret Hart or something, or being the champion, the evil champion, just like DiBiase probably should have. I mean, I was looking at Scott Hall yesterday, and I'm like, how did this guy never win? Same thing with Roddy Piper. How did this guy never win a WWF or even WCW championship? But more WWF at this time, especially with that look and that gimmick. I'll never understand that loss. I'll never underget it. That just does not make sense. He has the mic skills. He has the ring skills. He has the look. He has the aura. He has the crowd. One of the most major lost opportunities in professional wrestling, especially in that era. You go WrestleMania 11, 12, whatever. I forget when he jumped ship. He was there for a couple more years, I think, but he could have gotten the title at one of those points. But anyway, I digress. That's an argument for another day.
I have to say this or I'll forget. New No Holds Barred Wrestling Channel segment or show or whatever part of the what ifs segment. Like we could talk. Sorry. But like, is it better, hypothetical, is it better to never win like Roddy Piper and Scott Hall, and us jabronis go, he should have been, or is it worse to be Big E, win the title, and have a terrible run?
That's a good point. That's a great point. There you go. Good
Jack
good
Swagger. Like, you know what I mean? Like, would you rather be the guy that you should have won the title, or like an LA Knight right now, or someone that won the title and it was a complete failure?
And we've had, there's plenty of examples. That's a good point. But again, they were passing around the title like freaking, Cheese Whiz. It's like, oh, here, you get a title. You get a title. Oh, what about me? What about, we're good. I was like, really? You give it to that guy, but you don't give it to this guy? Whatever. Anyway, now we get in to.
Don't be stealing my show ideas out there, Justin.
Yeah.
Adrian.
You got Money Incorporated, Ted DiBiase, and IRS taking on the Mega Maniacs, Hulk Hogan, Brutus Beefcake, with Jimmy Hart. This match went longer than I thought.
Forever.
Hogan's eye was disgusting. I love how they say, "Oh, DiBiase attacked him in the back, and he was attacked, and this is why his eye is."
He got attacked at the gym, bro. Leaving the gym.
Was that at night in Las Vegas, the Strip? He said it, right?
Yeah.
So he's like, money can't buy everything. He got attacked and whatever. Of course, the backstory, or the accepted version was that he had a water skiing accident and he did a 460 and it smashed him in the eye. The non-verified story, the myth, the legend, is that Randy Savage punched him in the eye for housing Elizabeth, who is now his ex-wife, in Tampa with Linda Hogan. That's the rumor. Of course, Macho did not let that on. Macho, the ultimate professional, if that was true, was clapping for Hogan and putting him over and everything else. So we never saw Beefcake again in WWE. Lucky you. I mean, I'm like,
lucky us.
I mean, my goodness. I'll let you go on with this. Discuss this match in your opinion, and I want to get to my point with this.
I don't have much to say about this match, man. It's another stupid DQ finish. Hogan was acting like a heel. Did you notice that?
That's you're gonna steal the gimmick, brother.
Okay.
I was gonna say, no, go ahead, go. No. I have a thing, go.
As soon as he gets in the ring, he's already intimidating the referee. Like, as soon as he gets in, I'm like, what is this? And then after the match, he's like, him and Beefcake are both like bowing up to the referee. What is this? Who is this? And it's just like, this was one of the most confusing matches I've ever seen. I'm sorry, from WrestleMania so far. My right eye, I don't know, but I got into it right before the show. But I just didn't.
Decked by Macho Man.
Probably. But I just don't understand this match, how it was put together. Money Inc. has been champion for a whole year.
That's what it looks like, right?
They still have the championships. Another terrible another terrible DQ finish, but we know why Hogan can't win the titles, because he's about to screw the whole company over. I thought this match sucked, man. Like, I didn't care. When you're giving hot tags to Brutus Beefcake, and then you get another, like, how many hot tags did we have? This match went on for a very long time. And to me, the crowd didn't care until the very end. Until like Hogan started doing
the first hot tag, they were excited for Hogan. They all stood, and this is one I told you I was muted on, because I had to watch. I was took my in-laws to the airport at Adrian. When I took my in-laws to the airport, I had to leave the house at 2 a.m. to get back to like 3, almost 3:30. So I couldn't sleep. So I was, I'm going to put on WrestleMania. I'm going to try to finish it. So I didn't hear the crowd. I did see the crowd. And when Hogan made his first run in, you see the crowd go crazy. When Hogan did his second run in after being choked out for 10 minutes, the crowd didn't move. Now, this is what I'm going to say. This is why now I feel different about the ending. Which, if on face, if Hogan's a baby face, it's obviously one of the worst endings. It doesn't make any sense. Why anybody would say, "Oh, go Hogan, go get it." It's whatever. The referee's not even the referee's going like this at the towards the end. We'll get into that, but now that I've come with this realization about really what this was, it makes all the sense in the world. Hogan didn't turn heel at WCW Bash at the Beach. He was a heel in WrestleMania 9. That was a heel. That was heel Hulk Hogan. What you saw, what was Jimmy Hart
Heel manager.
up until this show? He was a heel manager. He was IRS's manager, the Money Inc.'s manager at the last WrestleMania. He was always the heel manager. Now look what he's doing. He's the heel manager, or he's the manager for Hogan and Beefcake. Hogan is going to town on Ted DiBiase. The referee say, okay, he comes, he's trying to punch the referee multiple times. Intimidating the referees. Beefcake at one point. Jimmy Hart gets in the referee's face. You know.
They were in the heel corner.
What do they do? What do they do towards the end? You know, DiBiase and IRS, they leave the ring. The referee says, oh, if you don't come out, you're not only going to lose the match, you're going to lose the titles. They go, shoot. They come back in. They continue the match. Then the referee gets knocked out. Hollywood. What happens? Hogan gets the finish. Where's the ref? What does Jimmy Hart do? A heel freaking move. He changes his jacket.
Yes.
That's a referee. 1, 2, 3. You're the champions. Oh. Ends in a DQ. Money Inc. wins. So the good guys lose by disqualification. Hogan was a heel. And even after the match, they're going to try to fight the other referee.
Yep.
They're going to beat up the other referee.
Yep.
So now, this is not about Hogan, the good guy, screwing over Brett. This was heel Hogan stealing a title. Yep. He played his cards. He played buddy with Brett. Hey, we're friends. I got your back. The Hulkamaniacs, brother. This makes all the sense in the world. He didn't turn heel at Bash at the Beach. That son of a bitch was heel at WrestleMania 9.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's the realization of it all. Fernando Hogan cheated and got Sid Justice only for. Yes, there's a heel element there. Now the backstory to that was Hogan was he wanted to turn heel. There was a point where Hogan talked to McMahon about turning heel because he saw the crowd. And McMahon's like, Hogan can't turn heel. That character can't turn heel. Obviously, that was wrong. But let's all realize it now that Hulk Hogan was a heel. He wasn't a babyface, which makes the ending make a lot more sense. We'll get to that when we do. Let's move on. So I love that you said that. I was like, oh, I'm so going to get Josh with this. I was like, it was like a hit in the head last night at 4 a.m. And then when I go, you go first. And when you go, he did some heel things. I'm like, son of a,
it was so obvious though. Like from the start of the match, I'm like, why is he intimidating the referees? What's happening?
It's a heel. He's a heel. Now I get it. Next one, actually, I'm going to tell you probably next to the Steiners was one of my favorite matches. Lex Luger taking on Mr. Perfect. And really, Mr. Perfect above all. Perfect was so damn good. He made everything look so easy. Lex Luger, people forget, yes, he's another one like Steiner, in shape, muscles. That's what he glorifies, right? That's what he wants to promote and whatever. But this is a guy who wrestled in NWA. He wrestled against Ric Flair. He was in the Horseman. He did all. So he's not bad. And in this match showed that. This was 10 minutes. It was only 10, but it was some decent wrestling in this match. Lex Luger goes over on Perfect. Perfect, it's basically a cheat. Perfect chases Luger out in the back, attacks Luger. Shawn Michaels happens to be standing back there. Michaels beats the hell out of Perfect, jumps him from behind. You get your first backstage attack in WrestleMania history. I was more interested in Perfect versus Michaels now than I am ever Tatanka, but I felt better about Shawn Michaels after this WrestleMania after seeing that part right there. But I actually enjoyed this match, man. What did you think about it?
Finish sucked. And I'll get to why the finish sucked. The finish would make sense if we didn't have referees. We didn't talk about this. We kind of did, but referees, this was the night of the challenge. The NFL didn't come up with challenge flag. This was the challenge flag WrestleMania. Referees came out all the time. Oh no, there was two doinks. There was two. Here in the Shawn Michaels match. They come out in the what other match? In the Money Inc. match, the Hulk Hogan match, the other referee comes out. This is the match. This is the WrestleMania. I think a couple other another match. I believe in the Bret Hart, Yokozuna, some other referees. So you're telling me every referee decided to get in everyone else's business except for this one, where the freaking clear baby face has his feet on the ropes? 1, 2, 3. And no referee comes out and goes, oh, wait, no, he had the rope. But every other match they did this. This was the only match they didn't do this. What? Okay, sure. It's a good ending. Like, it's a good ending if it made sense. If other I'll let it slide, I guess. I'll let it slide. I was bored. I don't like Lex Luger. I think Lex Luger sucks. I think Mr. Perfect is awesome. But I think Mr. Perfect did the best he could. I try to watch this match with an open mind because I never liked Lex, even in my WCW days. I was never a fan of this guy. I didn't like his look. To me, he was just stiff and Mr. whatever, right? Just always just stiff. But again, Mr. Perfect did the best he could. Good finish if it made sense, if the referees weren't so nosy at every the other 8 matches where they were just butting their freaking business, getting in everyone else's business. But I like that. After I left the attack afterwards, Shawn Michaels got involved. That was cool to see. I'm sure that leads into Mr. Perfect and Shawn Michaels. You would think, but eventually, well, we know Shawn's keeping this title because of WrestleMania 10. That's something I do know. The ladder match. So we know Shawn is going to be involved in the Intercontinental title for a while. I would like to see Mr. Perfect and Shawn. That'd be cool to see. I don't think we're going to see that at WrestleMania. Maybe we do. I doubt it. But I know. I probably don't. But that was cool. That was probably the best part of the match. Shawn Michaels and Mr. Perfect in the back.
Yeah. And again, I get it. You're right on with Lex Luger. But Mr. Perfect, again, just, you watch him and you're like, dude, was just easy, dude. It was so easy to, like, you put him with Shawn Michaels, you put him with Bret Hart. Are you kidding me? It's like a scientific contest. Next one, not really a scientific contest. Another one of the most famous or infamous matches in WrestleMania history. The Undertaker taking on Giant Gonzalez.
Oh my God.
Jorge Gonzalez, known as El Gigante in the WCW. This guy was massive. Literally, he was not. Yeah. They said 8 foot tall. He was 8 feet tall. This guy was a monster. I'm going to tell you though, this contest, this match did not do him justice. I'm going to be real with you. I actually, again, remember I told you, I saw the other day an old WCW pay-per-view, and he was in there. He was in a battle royal, and he did a lot more than what they showed here. I think it could have put on a better thing, but probably the man told him, hey, you're a giant, work stiff, don't fall, whatever. And that really took away from this match. It really did. I mean, again, if you can't lift him, Taker can't really choke slam him. Taker can't really do that. And I'm not taking anything away from Taker. Dude, don't put him against him. It was the same thing with Khali. Don't do it. Yep. Khali had, look what he did with John Cena when John Cena lifted him, and like that was that John Cena could do it. Like, I understand Taker gets this massive beast. Taker's already tall, and I get the allure of that, but I always thought it was bad booking. Hogan and Andre makes sense. Hogan and Gonzalez makes sense. Mm-hmm. Because Hogan could probably slam Gonzalez and make it look amazing. But they go Undertaker here. I don't think there's one slam. I think it's all punches, choke holds, this, that, whatever. And again, go watch El Gigante in WCW, and you're going to see a different type of wrestler. He actually wears wrestling gear, not that freaking god-awful skin tight, whatever the hell, hairy balls, whatever the hell you're seeing there. I don't know what that is, but there's not much to talk about. And how does he take out the Undertaker? He doesn't, but how does he take out the Undertaker? He has to use chloroform or whatever that is. And, Taker gets laid out. He's celebrating. Here comes Taker again. Taker punches him again until he falls out of the ring. and you know, and, uh, and and wins the match by disqualification. Yeah, you didn't see it. Go back and look. Look
It,
at what, not
it's it,
literally
but
painted.
it's just a weird looking outfit.
It
Um,
is.
Chloroform was a horrible idea. Look, if the live crowd can't decipher what's going on, yet they can't hear Macho Man or Bobby say, "Oh, it's cool. I smell cool. I smell." The announcers were heavily pushing that they smell some kind of substance. If you're gonna do a spot like that, have the camera show the manager pour like water on a cloth. Like it was just a
Mhm.
cloth that was thrown in the ring.
Yep.
So like
Yep.
we knew as a viewer, like watching because we had the announcers tell us, we kind of put two and two together. But there's 16,000 people in there. There's people that are gonna be like, "What the hell's going on?" Don't use that kind of prop. I understand the Undertaker's like the dead man, and I get that. Another gripe about this match, because it is like I can gripe about this and not be
Yes.
hated on.
Yes.
Don't book Taker. I understand, like, oh, Taker's the phenom. He's going to take over all sizes. The allure of Taker is that he is the big guy.
Yes. Yes.
He's supposed to be the scary one. Even as a babyface, he is supposed to be the one that's feared.
Yep. I agree.
He should not go into matches fearing or overcoming this. I didn't like that. I was like,
No.
I know this guy's 8 feet, but he's making the Undertaker look normal. That loses the allure of the Undertaker. While I'm watching a match, looking at him, going, "Man, he's a foot smaller than this guy." Then what's the Undertaker if he's not the massive big attraction? Then what is he? He's just a dude and playing pretend. That's what I didn't like about this match.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. It's if Taker can't work a big guy in that way, you know, where you have that one special moment, you know, where he slammed him, he chokes, he did something. It doesn't. I don't know, but to that point as well. I never liked it with Khali. I never liked it with Gonzalez. Kane was different because Kane was Undertaker's equal. You never saw someone big, strong, and as mysterious as the Undertaker as Kane was. So yeah, this one was it was a disaster. It was bad. Next we get the main event, or maybe co-main event, depending on how you look at WrestleMania. But the main event of the evening, Yokozuna with Mr. Fuji taking on Bret the Hitman Hart. Really cool to see, again, someone else as the champion now. They're trying to go in another direction. Bret Hart comes out. Crowd is behind Hart. They mentioned Hogan a couple times. Hogan and the Hulkamaniacs are behind Bret. You know, they're still feeding Hogan, or feeding the Hogan character to the national audience plus the local audience, which he did. He had people cheering him and whatever the hell. But I'll tell you, Yokozuna, for someone, you know, you think about with that size, you don't think they could work. You know, that's I know of Yokozuna. I'm not saying I didn't think he could work. But if you don't know of the guy and you're watching him and Bret Hart, you're like, oh, this is going to be tough to watch. It wasn't. They were both very good.
Yeah.
Yokozuna was not crush. He could actually throw a kick, lift his leg, you know. Bret Hart, again, showing why he was good as he said he was. The best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. There were a few spots that I saw where the move could look very devastating, but if you go back and you watch that, and you watch those specific moves, whether it was the bulldog, whether it was the knee drops, or the whatever, you could tell they never, not that they didn't touch, they did touch Yokozuna, but you could tell there was no weight put on Yokozuna. Bret knows how to take care of the other competitor. He knows how to put a move and make it look good and make the guy safe. And you got to give credit to Yokozuna again. Yokozuna, as big as he is, man, he was fun to watch. He was good to watch. He was, you know, he's what you would say for Giant Gonzalez that you would want. A big guy who could be intimidating, but also could move, could sell, you know, and also put on a decent, scary looking offense. Now we get the infamous finish where, first off, very impressive. Brett puts the sharpshooter on Yokozuna's big, thick legs, right? Hits the sharpshooter. First of all, Bobby Heenan, I laughed out loud. I finished the match, but Bobby Heenan, during the match, the crowd is chanting, USA, USA, and Bobby Heenan tells you how bright they are. One guy's from Japan, the other's from Canada. It's true. It's like, what are you doing? Of course, Yoko is bloodline. He's Samoan. He ain't Japanese, but back then that's what he was. He was a character. Either way, decent match. Not great, not bad, good, impressive. Impressed. Bret Hart was able to land the sharpshooter. Mr. Fuji throws the dust in his eyes. Bret is overcome. You get the 1, 2, 3. Hogan comes in right away, like not even 2 seconds after the pinfall, protesting. What's going on? He threw the dirt. He's doing the John Cena, Cena looking at the crowd, that John Cena took that from Hogan, vice versa. And Ripshot, thank God for Bret's best friend, Hulk Hogan. Yeah, Hogan comes in, he's a good friend, Hulkster is there trying to help out, and and Mr. Fuji right away, Hogan, Mr. Big Guy, tells him, my Yokozuna wants to face you right now. He goes, with the title on the line. Hogan wasn't really paying attention at that point. Hogan, oh, shut up. Blah, blah. He goes, the title's on the line. Hogan went, wait, and Bret's like, go do it, Hulkster. And Hogan's like, oh, so Hogan runs in the ring. Big fight. Not really. The Fuji, Yoko grabs Hogan. Powder into Yoko's face. Hogan ducks. Hogan hits the leg. Clothesline hits the leg. 1, 2, 3. Truth be told, crowd went crazy because it's a pop, right? It's a pop.
Yeah.
And we all know Bret was all for that. Yeah, he was. And yeah, the fans
went
cheered
nuts.
Hogan doing this and beating Yoko yes, the fans. It's true, but that you could still acknowledge that there was a pop. Hogan still had that with the crowd, but it's what happens is that's like the high, and then the honeymoon's over, and the fans gonna go, okay, we're kind of sick of that now. Let's go back to what was, and that eventually did happen. But what were your thoughts on this match, and then of course the infamous finish?
Anytime there's an impromptu title change on any card, on any show, on any night, the fans will pop. I think the fans pop when Nikki Cross won the women's title at one point when she was Nikki Ash. We all know how that turned out, right? People just want to say, I was there when this happened. That's why they popped. I don't think it was Hogan, but I could be wrong. I don't know. Yeah, the match was fine. I wish they would have kept it as is. Like I could have seen Yokozuna carrying the championship, but I understand why Hogan got the title shot now because I didn't know this. Again, I didn't watch this match. I watched the match. What I mean is I didn't watch this full pay-per-view and from start to finish. Didn't miss anything. Didn't fast forward through anything. He had a promo where he's like, I'm challenging whoever wins this match right before this match. So like it makes sense. He put out the challenge, so he's getting the challenge. So what happened is Fiji's like, oh, we owe you this title shot anyway. So therefore, let's just do it now. My guy's ready. Yeah. So it makes sense.
Good point. Good point.
That makes sense. But if you don't know that promo existed, like my entire life, I was always like, why does this make sense? But now it kind of makes sense. And in the whole heel theory, like it's all coming into play. Like you can hate it all you want. It's not the worst Wrestle. I ranked it. It's not the worst WrestleMania ever, brother. But it wasn't definitely the best. It had a lot of holes in it. Too many DQ finishes, for my opinion. Too many F finishes. Too many things that just didn't make sense. Too many things. I didn't like Randy Macho Man Savage on commentary. I didn't like how Bobby Heenan vibed with those two, Jim Ross included.
Yeah.
I like the theme. I like how they were having a theme for the show. Didn't like how it was during the day. Like if you're going to judge WrestleMania, you got to judge all of the factors. They didn't have any celebrities. Like if you're going to, we're all of us wrestling fans are like, we're the celebrities. Well, this one didn't have any, not that I can name, not that I saw. I'm sure they had like some people there that they announced. I can't remember them. That was so weird. But you know what? There's been 42 of them. They can't all be bangers because it's just not realistic. And I think at the time, fans could have been happy with this because you had a lot of big matches. You had a lot of big stars. There was not a lot of like throwaway jobber matches. These were big stars. If you go down to all of them, Hogan versus Yoko, Brett versus Yoko, Taker versus, Gonzalez, but whatever. Luger, perfect. Hogan, DiBiase, that whole thing. Razor Ramon, Bob Backlund. Doink is the only thing you throw away that crap. But every other match were superstars. So what else could you ask for? It's just the execution wasn't there.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. And it was just a question because, again, after I was watching it, I went back and looked and, there are people who didn't like this and, the preference of this was not the greatest WrestleMania. But again, when you watch the whole thing, kind of see it again, Sensational Sherry, the Steiners, Razor, Perfect, Brett, Yoko, not I don't think this was the worst WrestleMania. Maybe at the 10, I would say it might be the worst for me. But again, and then also with the Hogan finish, I get it. I understand it now. When you look at the whole picture, I get it. But at the same time, to make it make more sense, Hogan was a heel. He played Bret Hart. So, and he got it. So, Adrian says it's the top 3 worst. So, where does this rank among your WrestleManias, man?
You guys are all wrong, but it's okay. I still love you all. It's not the worst. It's not the best. I have it ranked as 5th out of the 9 that we've talked about during the series. So it's down there. But if you haven't heard my list, or I'm sure you guys don't keep track of it, my top 3 are WrestleMania 8, WrestleMania 5, and WrestleMania 4. And my bottom 3, I'll start with WrestleMania 3 is the worst WrestleMania I've ever seen in my life. WrestleMania 1 is the second worst, and WrestleMania 7 is the third worst. So, dude, WrestleMania 3 is bad. I don't care what any of y'all have to say. I don't care. Cancel me, kick me off the show. It's one of the worst WrestleManias I've ever seen in my life because I've watched them all currently in my 40s. I have opinions.
You could say that. Wild list all around. There you go. Rip shot. That's a wild list, brother. Yeah, man. Hey, you know what though? To each their own, right? I mean, to each their own. Man, we appreciate everybody jumping in here and joining us though for WrestleMania 9. We are going into WrestleMania 10. We will recap WrestleMania 10 next Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern time on the No Holds Barred Wrestling channel or simulcast obviously through FTSN or our social channels, but make sure you watch those and let us know. Watch the last shows and see what you think of our list and what we thought. Everyone has the right to be wrong, as Ripshot will say. That's true. That is true. Are you all watching the Mask versus Mask tonight?
I am
Grande
unfortunately.
Americanos.
I'm not going to watch it live, Adrian. I am going to get on my Nintendo Switch and play Pokemon Legends Arceus.
There you go. It's on YouTube, I'm sure, right? It's on YouTube. I think.
I'll watch it. I'll watch it tomorrow. And we're also going to be watching. Clash in Italy tomorrow. At 2 p.m. Eastern. I cannot wait. I love, as much as I hate daytime wrestling, as in like the show, like with bright lights. I hate that. That was a bad look. I like watching daytime wrestling when it's overseas. I love it. I know that I'm in the minority. I'd prefer a morning show. I love pancakes and wrestling. I love the London shows or London games. I love waking up early watching football. I love watching wrestling during the day. So I cannot wait to break down Clash in Italy. I believe we're doing a post show, but we'll finalize that after this when me and Bobby talk about that. And then, of course, stay tuned. Please subscribe to the channel, No Holds Barred Wrestling channel. We're going to be putting down AEW content very soon by your host right here. We have Real Talk Wrestling on there. El Ginger Americano and Clutch. We do weekly updates on wrestling. We talked about the Clash in Italy card. Who do we think is going to go over? Do I think Brock Lesnar should win this match? No, I don't. But will he? Probably, because that's what they do over there. So if you want more content like that, check out Real Talk Wrestling over there on Thursday night, 6:30 p.m.
I will say, if we want to watch a pre-show or a live stream of fan reaction and podcast tomorrow for Clash in Italy, make sure you tune in to the 2 Raw for SmackDown podcast. He is going to be live pre-show. I believe he's going to be live during the show. And of course, following the show, a post-show reaction. And then Josh and I will be live on the No Holds Barred Wrestling channel with our very own reaction to Clash of Italy. We'll talk about hopefully Gunther beating Cody, Roman taking out Jacob Fatu, if he even wrestles. Supposedly he's hurt. Maybe they're thinking about changing plans. Who knows? And maybe Gunther doing over Obo, but we will see. Till then, that's Josh Kimmel. I'm Bobby Melendez. Hit elbow drop that subscribe button, and we'll see you guys tomorrow here on the No Holds Barred Wrestling channel. Enjoy your Saturday. Good night, fellas.